We're getting ready to get started. Make sure you share this video so that we can get everybody, all of our cousins in here tonight. It's going to be a great conversation. If you don't know, Christian Hartley is the person you want to hear talk about tonight, man. I'm so excited. Let's share. Let's get some people in here. Shout out to Blue Organic for sponsoring the podcast. Blue Organic, live naturally. Yo, give me some claps. What's good? It's your boy Lo, man. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight, man. I have an incredible guest that I am going to be sitting down with. And man, let me tell you something. You ever meet somebody that you know is just destined to do amazing things? There's not many times in my life that I've ever met somebody who can change the atmosphere of a room, literally, by just coming into it. I'll tell you a little insight. One of the only people that I've ever known to be that way was one time when I was working on a project with Beyonce. And when she came in the room, like, everything changed. You just know some people are just that different. They're that special. My guest tonight, listen, I kid you not, and I will have people line up and testify about how incredible this guest is. She is not the person you want to forget. She's someone you want to make sure that you stay attached to. But before we get to that, we're going to get to that in a second. But we're going to kick off the podcast. I believe this is like episode 78. And if you don't understand why that number is significant, it's because over 80% of podcasts don't make it to episode 50. But we're well on our way to 100. So I'm going to big it up. Every podcast on this journey, man, is so wonderful for me to be able to sit and share conversations with you. If you don't know, if this is your first time, you are watching, listening, engaging with the world according to Lo. So what is the world according to Lo, right? So I am a creative director. I am a producer. I am a filmmaker. I wear a lot of hats in the production creative space. Award-winning on top of all that. Let me sit my crown right here. Can I sit it right here? Not to be prideful, but I do work hard for what I have achieved in my life. I did not get a silver pass to just end up in production. I literally had to do it through strong relationships and a even stronger work ethic. So along that journey, I meet some incredible people. And what I want to do is share my world with you. I want to share the experiences, people like my guest tonight who make an impact, because it's not easy to impress me. But I am nonetheless happy, and I love to have a place where we can do that together. And because of that, we're going to get into a great conversation tonight, and we're talking about something that I know is impactful, about how our faith can fuel us, right? It can carry us in ways that we never imagined. And I want you to tap into that tonight. We're going to have a great conversation. I'm telling you, this conversation is not for the norm. If you want to transcend from where you are to where you should be and where you want to be within your life, then you want to stick around and listen to this conversation. Now, I got to do a couple things. Y'all just hang out with your boy. I'm moving through these like church announcements. We going through them quickly. Now, I know you're looking at this great shirt I have, right? Shout out to igotitmade.us. Listen, I had an idea. I came up. Let me see if I can show y'all. Y'all see that? All right. So you see the sweatshirt. Loyalty is something that I believe we all have to be when it comes to our dreams, ourselves, our vision in life, our goals. You have to be loyal to them. Loyalty is not something you can just go buy. It's a dedication. It's a discipline. So every time we wear this brand, we're reminding ourselves and encouraging others to be loyal to themselves, their dreams, their goals, their ambitions in life. And because of that, I went over to igotitmade.us and I talked to my guy, Chuck, who runs an amazing business over there that will customize any kind of merch that you want for your brand or business. So shout out to I Got It Made over there. Go over there and let them know that Lo sent you and that you want the merch pack. If you are creative, you need to have your own messaging and your own merch, because you cannot have loyalty without your boy Lo. So with that being said, I'm excited. We're going to get into today's podcast. I've been doing the intro a little different every week, but I'm going to go ahead and do the intro. And then after the intro, let's switch it up a little bit. I'm going to let her join. She's going to join the choir. Y'all know I like my guests to join the choir. If you've never been to church, you're going to be in church on the podcast, because we're going to get this choir going. Now, if you also notice, your boy is slimming down a little bit. How? Why? I'll tell you real quick. So this year was the year of 23. And I had a conversation starting last year with my son. We were going through my old yearbook. Don't worry about what year I graduated. That ain't none of your business. But he saw me in fighting trim. He saw Dad in his athletic days. And my son made a statement to me. He said, "Dad, I've never seen you look like that." And I'm not going to lie to you. It stung a little bit, but it made me acknowledge the fact that I have been living outside of my healthy weight, outside of things that could take me possibly away from my family and my children early. So I made a decree with him. I made a discipline statement that he would see me do what it takes, be disciplined to lose this weight and to go into a healthier lifestyle. So what's funny is my birthday is 11/23, November 23rd, right? But this year, the first day of this year was 1/1/23. So I saw it as a sign for me to start and end on my birthday to get in this healthy shape that I need to. And I'm going to give you a little clip. And after this clip, I'm going to have you meet my guests. Can we do that? All right.
One thing I can give you is a speech. What I can't give you is heart. I can't infuse that dog in you. But you're going to have to have it if you're going to win in this league. If you're going to be a champion in this league, you're going to have that dog. You're going to have to play hurt. You're going to have to play when you don't feel, when stuff is going on, and that's what you're missing. Y'all coming close, but to get to the next level, you can't be a lion, which means you look like you the king of the jungle. You fight like you the king of the jungle.
Hey, come on now. Come on. Come on. She in the building. What's up, friend?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here, man. We've been working on this for a while,
Yeah,
and it feels surreal to have you in the building. I'm so excited to have you here. Let me start out by asking you, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're starting off the week strong. Got a busy week in front of us, but I'm excited. Let's get it.
All right, before we get into our conversation, though, okay, I'm about to play my intro to the podcast. I know you're musical. I know how you get down. So you're going to have to clap. I know you don't know the words, but you got to clap along, okay? That's my only thing. Since you don't know the words, you got to clap along, okay?
Okay. Okay, deal.
We're going to be one big choir. So I just need right here. You know, you got me? All right? Don't clap off beat because I will talk about you.
Okay.
All
Get
right.
ready to talk about me because that's
Oh my God.
happen.
No, Lord Jesus. No, we're not doing that tonight. All right, so here we go. And we're gonna get into I can't wait to talk. All right, so here we go. Come on. Come Oh Lord, come on, Kristen. You gotta get on beat now.
It's a delay.
No.
So see, you're setting me up here. I feel like
So let's see it grow. It's gonna be a good Welcome to the podcast, Kristen. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Thank
Hi,
you.
and listen, I'm sweating. I'm nervous. You being here is such a big deal for me. Tell people who you are and what you do. Let's start there.
We'll start there. Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Christian Hartley. I'm the market president for Cadence Bank here in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Really excited to be here. Been in the banking and finance industry for almost 20 years. And I also serve on the board of trustees for the Singing River Health Systems, which is actually the way I met Lo.
Yes. I like how you so humbly leave out so many accolades and so many things that really engulf the greatness of who you are. But I'm gonna extract all of that out of you. Now, you serve, we have a common ground. You serve. I am the digital coordinator at Singing River Health System, and you also serve on the board. But that is not how.
You're the award-winning.
I mean, they say let your friends brag on you, right?
Just saying, that's your blue pen. We'll talk about that. But we got to own those things.
I want you to do the same. We're going to talk medicine, right? I love that. I'm quick with it. So we're going to get that. Now, I want to talk about how I first met you, because I said initially that there are not many people that I've ever come across that can change the atmosphere of a room by simply entering it. Shout out to my guy in Gaucher.
Yeah.
He invited me to a meeting that Gaucher was having, a meeting of the minds, so to speak. And I was there, and I was sitting there, and I was really like wondering, why am I here? But I understood later why I was there. So when we were waiting and we were having these conversations about Gaucher and the future of Gaucher, you walk in and like everybody just like everything changed. And I was like, who is this lady? Like, and then like they made room for you to speak. And then I was just really captivated about how you just really set a tone in the conversation about things that were not being necessarily addressed. And you didn't do it ugly. Like, you were super articulate in precision on your choice words, but it was such a powerful moment because I realized that, there was something more to you just being there, that you were on a path of I didn't know how or what it meant for me at the time, but for you to invoke change. And you do that often because you were not in the role you're in now. You were in a different role.
I was in a different role.
So
Yes.
let's talk about that role. What were you doing at that time when we first met?
When we first met. So I'm glad you brought up Rico Barrazo. So he was the person who invited you to that meeting. And I used to call Rico the mayor of Gaucher, the honorary mayor of Gaucher, because he had his own little office as a volunteer in City Hall. And I mean, he always wanted to meet you, and he wanted you to engage with people. You know, have you met this person? And unfortunately, Rico passed away last year. And it's Gaucher, you know, feels that. But I was really glad that he invited you to that event because you were in a different role at that time. That was during my time at the credit union. So before I was here with Cadence Bank, I worked at Keesler Federal Credit Union for 18 years. And it was a tremendous opportunity. I started as a teller, and by the grace of God, just really worked my way up through the ranks. Someone made the mistake of telling me during the hiring process that we love to promote from within. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to just hold you to that. And so I was a teller, and then I was a loan officer. I became a floating loan officer. So I traveled all over the East footprint. I became an assistant branch manager, a branch manager. I helped open several branches in the Keesler Federal footprint. And then I managed actually multiple branches, Gaucher, Van Cleve. At one point, I was even managing the Pascagoula branch. And it was just truly a blessing. I got a chance to do some really cool things in that role. And when you talk about impacting change, one of the really cool things that I'm proud about is I had 9 assistant managers in my tenure and time at Keesler Federal, and all 9 of them were promoted to leadership roles within the credit union space. So I firmly believe that, you know, my marker of success is the success of other people and the team that is around you that's helping you get to that common goal. And so that's a really cool thing. And we also, during my time at the credit union, I was able to establish the only credit union specific young professionals group in the state of Mississippi, which of course has a huge impact and a huge reach here in the entire state. So it was a blessing. I look back fondly on my time at Keesler Federal, and I am confident, and I'm so thankful that God used that to prepare me to the role that I'm in now.
So let's put a pin right there because I really like the platform to be one of education and growth, right? So I really want people to feel like they can take notes away from what we're talking about, what we're doing, and literally transform their lives. We're going to be bridge builders tonight, Christian. That's
Right.
what we're doing. You naturally already do that. I like how you speak to making others around you better,
Mhm.
because one thing I want to include in the title of today's episode is about us empowering our faith to fuel our success, right? And when we go back to the beginning of things, we know that God started out creating. He created in the beginning, and then he made man, and then even in that he made woman, and he's always creating more things, right?
Mhm.
And I like that when you speak to your success, you have carved out a space where you can speak to making opportunities or creating opportunities for others.
Right.
And I said this earlier because what's impressive to me about you is that you do that in every scenario you're in. I never see you ever make it a selfish tactic, or like you meet people within the spaces we reside and
Mhm.
everybody's trying to get the next promotion, the next leg up, the next advantage over someone. But literally, the doors you have open for you come like
It's
they
the grace of God. Yeah.
it's all God. Like
It
you
is.
can't ignore that
Mhm.
your faith is a skeleton key to any door you face. Like, how did you become that version of yourself? How did you get there? Walk us through that.
Right. In 2014, I accepted Christ as my Savior. And I tell people that is what made the difference in my life. My scripture is, whatsoever you do it heartily as unto the Lord and not unto men. I wrote it down, in fact, right before we got started, because it's always just, it's my verse, Colossians 3:23. And no matter what I'm doing, I understand that I'm representing Jesus Christ. And whatever I'm doing, whatever effort I'm making it to the glory of God. Because if I'm pleasing God first, then, Cadence Bank will be totally happy with my program of work, my body of work. If I am pleasing God first, Singing River Health Systems, where I sit on the board of trustees, they're going to be happy with my body of work. And then it just goes down the line. I'll be the best daughter I need to be. I'll be the best sister I need to be, the best friend I need to be, the best aunt I need to be, all whatever those titles are, because it's not even about those roles. It is about pleasing God first. And so that's been my priority. And, you mentioned it earlier about the success of other people. I remember when I became an assistant branch manager, it was at the Ocean Springs branch at Keesler Federal. And, I was really excited about that. I was very young. I was in my 20s. And, I was really thrilled about this opportunity. And up until that point, the Lord had blessed that I was a top performer, top loan producer, top, sales producer, all of those things, top. And I was thankful for it. So, you get these little trophies and, congratulations and this little award and these different things. And I remember going to my new office in Ocean Springs, and I set them all up on the table on my office desk behind me. And I'll never forget it. The branch manager at the time, she walked in and she was like, Christian, yeah, congratulations. I see all of those awards and I'm so proud of you. That's great. I just want you to know those don't mean anything anymore. And I was like, wait, what? She was like, yeah, those don't mean anything anymore. She said, because now your role is not about what you can do, but about what your lenders can do. And I had a team of 5 or 6 lenders. And I had just met a lot of them. A lot of them were older than me, had been in the credit union movement space longer than me, had worked at Keesler longer than me. And I'm going, wait, it's not about me anymore. Like, this is not dependent on the things that I can do and how hard I can work, but it's about what these other people are going to do. And that is what I'm going to be evaluated on their body of work. So immediately I'm like, oh, my success lies in these other people. Okay, well, they're about to have the best training. They're going to have the best encouragement. What's your favorite treat? Oh, you like Starbucks? Okay, we'll have a Starbucks gift card. What's your favorite candy bar? Whatever it took, and I learned really quick about leadership. That was my first foray into leadership, which was your success as a leader is not about what you can do. Your success as a leader is what you can inspire other people who are around you to do. And it's been true. My success as a leader here as a market president here in Pascagoula, Mississippi, we're brand new in this East Jackson County market, but it is dependent on those people who are around me. They make me look really, really good. And it's been a blessing, but it's truly a team. It's true what they say, there's no I in the word team. You cannot do it by yourself. I can't do it. It's a team effort. That means we all win together.
Now, I want to talk about something because someone watching or hearing this is going to say, Christian, I get it. That sounds very cute and just harmony, like everything's in harmony.
Yeah.
Do you have any adversity in your journey? Like, where does everybody just do what you want? Does everybody just somehow fall to the will of what the goals and the path that you set out? Like, how do you deal with the challenges of molding that into a unit of something that can be successful for everybody?
Yeah, I would love to say there's been 0 challenges, and everyone just does it. I remember telling one of my former teams, if I could go to the grocery store and buy trust off the shelf, I would have bought it in bulk. And the truth of the matter is, you can't. I looked on Amazon. They do not have trust where you can purchase it and have it delivered to your house in 2 business days. They don't have it. So you have to go through the reps of establishing trust with people. And I learned early on in my career in management, in leadership that your yeses have to be yes and your nos have to be nos. If you tell somebody that you're going to do something, you have to do it. You have to follow through on it. You tell somebody, these are the boundaries and these are the parameters. You've got to stick to it. And it takes time. As a young professional, that was something that I really didn't want to hear and really didn't want to have to deal with, but it truly takes time. And I'll give you a quick example. I remember, being in a leadership position, and someone had come in, and Lo, my thing that makes my eye twitch. People are like, "You're so friendly," but the thing that will just send me off is when people, are disrespectful to my team. And someone came in and they cursed at one of my tellers, and it was just a reaction for me to move her behind me and to handle the situation, and tell the gentleman that these are some things that you can do and there's some things that you can't do, and cursing at her is not one of the things that you can do. And that was it. He moved on, we resolved the situation, and I kept it moving. Lo, it was 2 to 3 years later, we were in an interview, and we were interviewing someone for a teller position, and that young lady happened to be there. And she was like, "Oh, Miss Christian, she doesn't let members talk to you any kind of way." And I looked at her, and she brought up that story. She was like, "One time we were in the temporary facility, and there was this person, and they came in and they said this." I had no idea that that had any kind of impact on her. But from that moment, she started looking at me in a different way, in a different light. Like, "Oh no, she said, oh no, members can't come in here and just talk to you any kind of way. I'm not going to tolerate that." And she just had the actions that back that up. And so people are watching you all the time. And like I said, your yeses have to be yes and your nos have to be no. You have to establish that very firm and off the top, because people are watching you. They're watching what time you show up, they're watching what time you leave, they're watching what you do, who you're interacting with, down to something as simple as, you can't talk to my team members like this, and showing up for your people and showing them that you care about them.
So let's talk about that, because I like that you have this standard that you adhere to. In your mind, what parameters go into that standard? Like, what's your definition of what you are willing to accept and what you're not? Like, how, walk us, through that. Like, in your mind, in a lot of the roles you have, what is your definition of the standard for, you to be a part of it?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, for my team members, there's the standard is that they are somebody's husband, somebody's wife, somebody's mom, somebody's daughter, somebody's son. And I it's the most basic thing. How would I want someone to treat my daughter, mother, brother, husband? How would I want someone to treat me if they were in that role? And I'm all about kindness. You've got to be kind, but just setting those parameters in place of things that we just don't tolerate. There's just certain things that we're just not going to deal with, and confusion is one of them. And cursing at one of my team members is one of them. It's like we're just not going to deal with that today. So you set those boundaries, and thankfully, you know, once you've done that enough times, you've got people who understand, like, yeah, no, I mean, some of my friends, very respectful, who are like, "Oh no, you don't curse around Christian." It's not something I've ever said, like, "Oh, don't curse around me," but it's just by my testimony, people know that's not going to work. That's not going to work around her. So it's a blessing, but you set that testimony. I think you have to know your why. I believe you have to know your why and the things that mean the most to you. Like I said, my faith is very important to me, and I understand that I represent Christ in everything that I do. Before I represent Cadence, before I represent Senior River Health Systems or any of the boards that I sit on, I represent Christ. So my decisions are going to be made in the lens of, is this pleasing to God? And you go from there, and like I said, it's the most basic thing, but kindness, and is it pleasing to God? If it is, okay, let's go. And if it's not, all right, well, we're gonna step away from that. We're not gonna do that.
I love that. And like I said, you make such an impact wherever you go, regardless of the situations, because I know the places you go. And when you're in a lot of networking, a lot of social aspects, there is a lot of pressure to do things that may get you an opportunity to be more in with this person of position and power, or hey, we want you to be here, but everybody's just nervous to invite you to things because you don't partake in this and this. And I'm curious, like, did it take you a little bit of time to be okay with not going with the pressures of what society would say you should do? Like, oh my gosh, you could be a lot further if you just had a drink with everybody, or if you just cursed, like people will respect you more, because all the things that come into it. But a lot of times people fold to pressure. They want to be accepted. They want to be included. How do you deal with the pressures of that? Like, not conforming. Like, I know you attested to faith, and a lot of people feel they have faith, but there's a level of, in my thought process, there's a level in my journey, there's a level of discipline that you have to practice every day. How much time and effort do you devote to that?
So, so that's a bunch of questions. So I'll address a couple of them.
Yeah, pull them apart, because
So
I'll.
I'll pull them apart, because I'm picking up what you put down. First of all, like I said, you establish your boundaries early and often. I'm a Christian. Whether it's 7:32 on a Monday evening, or if it's next week and I'm in the capital, I'm in Jackson for an event. So that's with me. That's the Holy Spirit is in me. So I don't just take that off and put it on, and that. So my boundaries have been established. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and it's just it's normal to me, where it doesn't even throw me off anymore. If I go to an event, and look, to your point, you go to a networking event, there's a bar, people are opening, they have opportunity. Christian, do you want something? I'm like, do you have a bottle of water? Do you have a bottle of water? Good. You don't know, it's fine, no big deal. I go to networking events with a very purpose. I'm very, very purpose driven. There's somebody I want to meet, somebody I want to talk to. And I remember one of my very first networking events that I went to. I had, a stack of business cards. And when I was out of business cards, I left, because there's nothing else for me to do here. I mean, I've met the people that I'm going to meet. I'm out of business cards. Y'all have a great day. And the people I was with, they were laughing. They were like, you do that networking thing. I'm like, you've got to be intentional about it. But and then to your next point, like I said, you're setting the boundaries early and often. I have those boundaries within myself. So it's not like, oh, this person offered you something. No, thank you. I don't drink. That's easy for me, but I understand that it could be challenging for other people. The second thing, and to your second point, I have found throughout my career, the Lord will open up doors. And I'm just sitting here along for the ride. And I'm like, what just happened? Oh my goodness, what just happened? There's no way, if you look at my resume on paper, that I should be sitting in the chair that I'm sitting in now, but for the grace of God. You're talking to someone who was homeschooled, incredibly shy growing up, very, very shy, very quiet, very, very timid, did not like math, not a numbers person. Do not recommend, 0 stars. My mom has a funny story about this. One day I'm doing my homework at the kitchen table, and I'm just like, it was the converting of the decimals to the fractions. And I'm like, just leave them alone. They're fine. Let the decimals be decimals. Let the fractions be fractions. Just let them be great. They
Yeah.
want us to count them and multiply them and all these different things. And I remember going in the kitchen and I'm going, Mom, I said, this is not it. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was so frustrated. My brother was very good at math. He's incredibly smart, very good at math. It just came easy. My best friend, same deal. And I remember her looking down at me, standing at the kitchen sink. She was at the sink. And she looked down at me. She was like, Christian, one day you'll do this every day. And I remember looking at her and I remember
Yeah.
thinking, who speaks this over their kid's life? Like, why would you ever do that? But I truly believe, Lo, that the reason I'm in the chair that I'm in is to glorify God. Because if it had been anything that I was comfortable with, like writing or theater or any of those things that I felt good at, I feel like this comes naturally to me. The pride, there would be a prideful part of you like, well, yeah, I'm really good at that. But math and numbers and, the commercial banking and, analyzing credit and looking at cash flows and all of that, it doesn't come naturally to me. And so that's why I can confidently say it is God. And he has opened up doors. He has put my name in in people's conversations that on paper you can't write it out. You can't say, okay, and then this will happen and this. It wouldn't happen but for the grace of God. And so I know that and recognize it. And like I said, everything I do, I want to do it heartily as unto the Lord and not unto men.
So let me tell you how we have similarities. And this is amazing. I'm loving this conversation. So growing up, and it's funny, like I was a sickly kid. So I had like bronchitis all the time, like asthma, like I was just sick. So my mother, who my parents moved here to work in the engineering, electrical engineering aspects with Ingalls, straight out of college. And because of that, they were away from, they really had no family here. They would just had each other. So my mom, when I was a baby and I started getting sick, like my mother ended up quitting and just stayed home with me. My dad said, hey, just take care of our child. I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. And my mother and I developed this very close bonded relationship. And one thing my mother always did was like anoint my hands. I talk about this all the time. She would put oil in my hands,
Yeah.
like pray for me, and it continued even as I got older. But one thing she always spoke over me was just the ability for me to always be creative and well skilled in whatever gifts God gave me, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's funny how you say we end up being the product of our mother's words. I actually, my father wanted me to go into economics. So like he wanted me to be a finance major. So
Wow.
everything that would have put me on a path to be what I am today, like film and visuals and music and all that stuff, was not the way I imagined it to happen. It was a lot of humility. It was a lot of being crushed. It was a lot of other routes, scenic routes, so to speak. And I like that you said that if we would get it our way,
Mm.
it would be a source of pride because we would feel entitled
Mhm.
to the things that manifest from gifts we cannot buy, for doors we cannot purchase to be open, right?
Right.
And we just had this conversation recently, and someone asked me literally like, do you attest like the things that you have seen as success in your career to be something of your faith or something of chance? And like hearing that out loud literally gave me goosebumps because a lot of times we look to take the glory away from the faith that we believe. We look to take the opportunities that God gives us and take that glory for ourselves. I love how every time you describe something, it goes back to your faith, but then it also goes back to a space of inclusion. It's never a prideful stance of it's me, 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 me. I was the youngest this. I did this with Brad Branches. None of that.
Mhm.
Because we live in a society now where everybody wants the glory.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be the center of attention. And here you walk this path where you are screaming to everyone that your faith can do it. You just got to let God drive.
Listen, you gotta, my word, surrender. And you got to surrender to the will of God. You know, for me, I remember being frustrated about a situation, and my pastor was telling me, he was like, you know, this is where you seek the patience of God. You know, the patience that's in the Bible. So I go home that night and I'm like, my Bible app, I'm like searching for every word in the Bible about patience. But it's preparation. You know, all of that time where I was frustrated, I'm like, oh goodness, you know. Um, I needed that patience, you know, because God was preparing me for it. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last week, and he shared something. He's like, you know, God is a God of preparation. And that stuck out to me because, you know, there have been some very cool opportunities that I've had, some very cool conversations that I've gotten to have with people. And there's no way that they could have happened but for the grace of God, right? Like this is a God thing. Like there's no way I could have even fabricated this or orchestrated this to make this happen. But the conversation was, you know, God is a God of preparation, and there's no place that He's going to send me. There's no place that He is going to open a door for me that I'm not prepared for. You know, there's no table that He's going to have me sit at that He hasn't already prepared for me. And I just have to trust him, you know, and continue to be surrendered to his will in my life, to continue to give him the glory and honor in everything that I do, starting with my salvation, you know, accepting Christ as my savior and having that peace that I'm going to heaven for all eternity. It's not because of my works of righteousness, because it is not that. It is the fact that I realized I was a sinner and I put my faith in the blood of Jesus Christ. And that alone, you know, if that's the only thing, it would be more than enough, right? But the fact that he saved me eternally, and and
I
you
like,
know, all
yeah.
of these opportunities, you know, from, you know, whether it's an educational opportunity or a work opportunity or financial or whatever it is, you know, there's so many things that God's blessed me with. I have to give all the glory and honor back to him, because I couldn't have done it. There's no way that I couldn't have done it.
I love it. And listen, I this is why you're one of my favorite people, man. Like I tell you this all the time. Like you never switch up. You It's the same today, forever. And I always tell you, every time I see you, I say a prayer for you,
Thank
because
you.
we need,
Right.
no, and you say this every time, but I'm serious. We need we need people like you that God can use and trust, and know that his will always be the first thing that you put before anything else. And I want to say this before, because I want to pivot a little bit, but you mentioned earlier, and I want you to talk about the blue pen. What was that?
So you mentioned earlier, you said that you're an award winning in the intro. You were like, I'm an award winning, and you know that's not a brag. It's just this is what it is. And I immediately held up like a blue pen because that's what it was. So years ago, I had an assistant manager, and she was struggling with a team member. You know, she was going through some challenges. She was like, Christian, I just don't know what to do. And, you know, this person's going to say this and all this. I said, Heather, I said to Heather, this is my assistant manager, Heather, I said, you got to find your blue pen. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And so I grabbed a pen and I said, what is this? And she said, it's a pen. I said, what color is it? And she said, it's blue. I said, if I start crying right now, I said, does that change this? She was like, no. I said, what if I throw something at you? She was like, nope. I said, it's still a blue pen, right? She said, yeah. I said, what if I tell you that you're a horrible boss and you're a terrible leader? What is this? She was like, it's a blue pen. And she started smiling. She's like, it's a blue pen. I said, that's how you have to approach every single coaching session. Every single thing that you're doing, you have to find the blue pen. You've got to find the solid fact of the matter. And I think as women, as a woman, we struggle with that when people say kind things about us, or if there's some sort of accolade in our lives, we tend to dismiss it. We're like, well, I don't want them to think I'm bragging, and well, I don't want them to think this, and well, I don't think that. But at the end of the day, it's your blue pen. This is a fact. This can't be changed. And so for you, when you talk about it's your award winning, that's your blue pen. That just is what it is. It doesn't matter if somebody says, oh, well, it's just low and he's just being braggadocious. No, nope. I have the actual award right there that says I am an award winning creative right here. That's my blue pen. And like I said, when I spoke at Ignite a few years ago, I talked about the blue pen and how often people will try to discount your achievements and the things that you've done. They may try to downplay it. Oh, well, that doesn't mean anything, or oh, well, that's just that, or oh, they just got that role because of this. But at the end of the day, you have to find what is the fact, what's the solid foundation in everything. This is the blue pen. And I've carried that with me in work. Take the emotion out of it. What is the solid fact of the matter? Oh, it's this. Okay, perfect. Let's move on. Let's go from there. And so when you said that about that, like I said, I know I've found with my female leaders, they seem to struggle with it more so. And I'm like, what is your blue pen? Where's your blue pen? Okay, own that. Own that. We're owning that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, where did you come up with that? Like, where did that originate? Did that just come to you?
I was literally sitting in my assistant manager's office, and her name is Heather, and she's one of my favorite people. And I was sitting in her office, and like I said, she was so frustrated about a situation, and it was one of the pins with our credit union name on it. And I just grabbed it and I was like, she's getting distracted with all of these different things. The emotion of a situation, people saying these different things and it's not true. And you're losing sight of this one fact. So what is this? Okay, stay there. Focus on this. It doesn't matter what people are saying about these different items and they're trying to distract and gaslight. No, but this is where we're saying, here's what we can do. Here's the consequence if we don't do it. All right, and let's move on. So apparently I said it a lot because one of my 9 assistant managers, when she got promoted to branch manager, she was like, Christian, I've got a gift for you. And I said, you got a gift for me? She's like, yes. She said, I'm going to bring it to the next branch manager meeting. I said, okay. And so I meet her and she gives me this bag and I open up this bag and it's a frame and it's a black picture frame. It has a white background and it says, hanging in the middle was a blue pen and it said, this is a blue pen, period. And then it had the pen like hanging suspended in the middle.
Yeah.
I said, do I say this that much? She was like, but it works. It works. It helped me.
Yeah. I was about to say we may have to get you some help. That should be a book. That should be an ebook or something. The blue pen. I love that because we oftentimes are distracted. And I love how you pulled her focus back in a chaotic moment because life is often full of chaos. Like we were talking before we started the podcast of, we're running here. It takes a village, right? Dad's dropping off, meeting mom. I was meeting my wife and, we're doing all these things to get through our day. And there's a lot of chaos and a lot of noise. And sometimes you often start to question yourself and our blue pens. Like, is it really blue? Is that really true? Should I really be saying that? And then here you are reminding us. I love that. Stop, focus on what's factual.
Yeah.
Those
It's
things.
it's easy to get distracted, and truth be told, full transparency moment. This is just a safe space between me
Yeah.
and you and all of your listeners. My team reminds me of the blue pen. When I want to shrug off something, my mom reminds me of the blue pens. And I'm like, seriously, you're using my own words against me? And she's like, but this is true. This is what you've done. Don't downplay that. And it's a tough walk, because it's a balance between, yeah, I'm really proud about this. This is a great opportunity, but I don't want to get too prideful about it. But this is what it is. This is not a brag. This is not, a boast. This is just a fact. This is a blue pen. That's it.
Listen, I can say your blue pen is part of your blue pen is that you are an amazing person. Listen, I know I could talk to you forever and a day, but I really just want everybody to really focus here. I feel like this is a great culmination of all of it because as we go through our lives, our faith fuels us, right? And that belief, that standard of through all of the things you said tonight, I think the blue pin that connects us all is our belief in God, is our ability to connect with Him because He will not change. That's something that, regardless of what we do, He is the ultimate blue pin, right?
That's
Like
right.
He is all loving, all encompassing. And what better blue pen for all of us to keep with us than our faith in God and our ability to tap into that? Now, I got to ask you before we go, what are some of your goals this year? Because you do a lot.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what does Christian aspire? What do you want to see in your year? We're in February.
Yeah.
But what do you want to see for the rest of 2023? What are you looking to do?
Well, I tell you, my word of this year is balance. Balance. And it's very easy to run and be busy. And I want to have a really good balance, not only on the things that I'm doing for my current role in the community, but just to have a really good balance of representing the community and my bank. Um, I want to make sure that I am leading everything with balance because it's easy, right? Like it's easy to get super, super caught up in one way or another. And I remember reading a scripture during like mid-pandemic, and it was, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord. And I remember just like almost falling over because I had been doing all of this running and all of this striving, and I'm trying to be everything for everybody during this really chaotic time. And it was something that I really wanted to focus on this year. So one year my word was bold. One year my word was brave, and this year my word is balanced because I want
Balance.
to just really find a really balanced approach to things in life. And I've got some really big professional goals that I would love to see accomplished before the end of the year. So, by the grace of God, that'll happen. There have been a lot of surprises this far, and I mean, we're only at February, mid February, and I've been really excited about it. But I want to just approach everything with a really balanced outlook on things, not on, on one side or the other, just very balanced.
That's a great goal. Man, I'll say this because my wife, she talks about this all the time.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get swept up in the current of always being busy.
Yes.
And it's hard to find your way back to tranquility and to just stillness, right?
Mhm.
So I want to make sure we all piggyback on that goal that you have with the
Yeah.
word balance.
Yeah.
And I'm making my way there. Um Sometimes we justify running to the fires as a means of we're hustling and grinding, but I think that's a mirage that never really is a destination you actually catch, because if you make yourself available all the time, then there's never any time to refill and you're no good to anybody anyway. So you might as well take some time. What do you like to do for self-care? What's your go-to?
Listen, I am all about having days off the grid. So any day that I can put my phone on D and D and you know just relax. I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, I love to fold laundry. And she was like, do you want to come over to my house? Because I have a ton of it you can fold. But it was just something about just the absolute quiet, and it's just something just kind of laid back. But just to be still, because we are inundated with so many things, and it's so much noise, and it's so much distractions, and I find myself really craving that time, where I can sit and be still, when I can go home and I may light a couple of candles, and I might get out my Bible and my journal and just talk to God about my day, and open up his word and see what's going to speak to me about it. But when you said a quote earlier, and I wanted to share this with you, something that I had shared with my team. It says, true success comes from saying no to the distractions and yes only to mission critical opportunities. And it just goes back to what we were saying, because there's so many things that can consume our time, our phones, we've got all these apps that we can use, and we're constantly connected with people. And if you don't set those really good clear boundaries, you'll I mean you will always have a booked and busy calendar. You will always. So it's so important that you set off that time where it's just off the grid. Nobody needs me for anything. And I'm just recharging and refueling. I take that so, so serious.
I love that, man. I love it. Love it. Listen, we are. I gotta have you back. I know I'm gonna go ahead and book you for next year because I know how your calendar stays full. But I'm so blessed. I'm so full right now. I just appreciate you pouring out into us for this podcast. And, for me, these conversations are some of that balance. Like we talk about this. I got very comfortable being in the background, but it's very unique for me this year because I feel God is pushing me out of that more to the forefront.
That's all right.
And because of that, my love for people, my love to see people be at their best, to grow and to have those opportunities where we can see our faith living, breathing, manifesting in our lives is something I think that will carry all of us to a better day, a better being of who God called us to be, right? And I just want you to leave us with some love. Just what is something you want all of us to carry away from this?
Well, Lo, thank you so much for having me and for all the kind words. You are such an encouragement, and I really, really appreciate it. To your listeners, be kind to one another. Be kind, be kind. You know, and you've given me a great platform, for your faith. And like I said, the difference in me is that I know Christ is my Savior, and that is what has brought me peace and joy. It's not saying that there's never been challenges or there won't be challenges, but the fact that I can lean on Jesus Christ in those hard times and he can comfort me is just the greatest blessing that I'll ever know.
All right. Well, how can they get in touch with you? Because I know somebody's going to say, I got to have her come speak. I got to have her at a luncheon, something. How can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Christian Elizabeth Hartley. Elizabeth is with an S. You can find me on Instagram at I am Christian Elizabeth. Or you can, if you're here local, you can always pop by my office here in Pascagoula.
Now, we didn't get to any of your banking stuff, but does Cadence have anything that we should be knowing about? What are y'all doing over there now?
Well, I'll tell you, we opened up the best loan production office in the Cadence footprint, and I am not biased at all. But we just had our grand opening last November for our loan production office here in the Pascagoula area. We're so excited to be in the East Jackson County market. And, our vision is one that we want to see our people, our companies, and our communities prosper. And that's one thing that is very cool about my job is I get to go out and talk to people about Cadence and all the amazing things that we're doing. But yeah, if you need anything, we would love for you to give us a shot. If you have some funds you'd like to deposit, come see me. I will keep those funds very, very safe. And if you have some money that we need to lend to you, we do that as well. So come on over, come see me.
Hey, everybody, listen, go follow Christian. And just, I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed by her effect and her light in your life. I got to shout out once again the loyalty crew, man. Thank you all for supporting. I would not be here without the support of people who, just stay in my community, man. If you want to do that, you can always go over to patreon.com/Aloysius Ballard, or you can visit my website, aloysiusballard.com, and sign up there as well. Christian, you've been in my world. You're still in my world. I appreciate you, friend. I'm so excited. I will have something. I have to put you and my wife together. I literally
Yes.
have to do that. I've been telling her about you, but I gotta get y'all together at a lunch or something.
Absolutely. I'm excited. We'll do that. And I'm
We'll
so
do
proud
that
of you,
for
Lo.
sure.
Keep doing the amazing things that you're doing.
Hey, keep encouraging me. You know how I get. But until next time, man, thank you all for listening. I love you. Your life matters. Hey, focus on your blue pen because that is your guide, man. It'll remind you every time. Until next time, man, it's your boy Lo, and I will see you in the next one.